Today, I have assembled a list of products that I think we're going to try out today. We're going to see what works best, and maybe this is something that you can use too when you need to do such a job as well as cleaning out a motor that's been sitting around for 10 plus years. I think this maybe motor hasn't run in over 20 years at this point. So stick around. Thanks for joining us. Let's get at it and let's see how any of these cleaning products work and get this Gunk and motor getting back to ready for paint and reassembly. So here's the lineup that we're working with today. So I started with this, and I bought this obviously myself a while back when I first picked up the motor just to get some basic stuff off to handle it. It's run-of-the-mill engine degreaser by Gunk. It's had a picture of a motor on it, so that's why I went with it. We'll see how that does. Super Clean. Super Clean is one I've seen a lot of people mention. Supposedly it's supposed to be pretty good, so we're going to see how that one does as well. Jer actually picked that one up for me. I had some Goo Gone kicking around, which is kind of like a citrus cleaner. I'm sure you guys have seen Goo Gone before. Brake Clean. Brake Clean, of course, Brake Clean was recommended, and we're going to give that a shot as well. Why not? So we got a full can of Brake Clean. We've got some Mean Green as well, Super Strength. So let's see how that one does. We'll compare that. And then the last one here, which is really cool. So this is the Blaster Metal Resolver. It's basically a premix dip that you just soak the parts in. Now, I will say that what I've seen online quite a bit was something called Chem Dip, I believe it's called. And I looked for that, could not find it in any retail stores here in Canada. At least not in my area. There was available on Amazon for $108 Canadian for a can, and I'm sure it works great, but I thought, you know what, let's try something that's a little more economical. Picked this up from good old Canadian Tire. This was maybe half the price at $56. Still not cheap in my books, but you know what, it's, again, a lot less than $108, and I could get it that day. So we're going to try this one. We're going to fill a container up. We're going to soak one of the pistons in there while we work on the other ones with the other products and just see how it does. I have a hunch. My bets are on this one first, but we'll see. But let's get through it. I do have a nylon brush, so I'm hoping this is okay to go. It's not too hard. It's not too abrasive. And obviously metal was a no-no, so nylon was the recommendation. So that's what we're going to go with, and this is what we're going to test today. Now let's look at what we're working with here. All right, so what I'm going to focus on today is obviously the pistons themselves. They're kind of something I just want to tackle at first, see how they do. You can see how some are significantly more carbon buildup on them and junk. The rings don't seem too bad. They're pretty well freed up, I think, for the most part. But yeah, so just a lot of old oil and junk. I'll go around the other side here. And let's take a look at these ones as well. So this one here, actually, we were kind of playing around with that. I mentioned that Gunk, the first one. We kind of went to it with just a rag, just to see how that one did. And you can see where it got to. These ones here have not been touched at all. So let's go ahead and get some of these set up. Get them, one of these soaking. And we'll see how we do there. All right. So for the first one, while we work on the rest, like I mentioned, we're going to go ahead and we're going to work with the Blaster product first. So plastic container, I checked, didn't say anything special, put certain plastic. This looked like I had it, it'll be fine. It was clean, it was new. I went ahead and I put the first two pistons in here. I went with two to start. We'll see how that looks and how that does first. And we'll see how this Blaster. So while we work on the rest, let's set this aside and we'll get out to the others. All right, first up, let's go with the Mean Green and see how it does. I got one piston here that we have not touched anything yet. So I'm gonna go ahead and apply this one on here. We'll follow the instructions, what it says here, and we'll see how this one does up next. Okay, while this one sits a little bit with the Mean Green on this one here, I sprayed it quite a few times, wiped it a little bit. I'm gonna let it sit and soak for a bit. So while it does that, I'm gonna start this one as well. We're going to go ahead and hit this one with the old Super Clean. Again, recommended. So let's see how Super Clean compares with against the Mean Green. Wow, I can tell already that it's running off of this as I hit it with the super clean. I didn't see so much with the mean green doing that, but I can already get a sense that this one might be the better one out of these two, at least anyway. All right, let those sit for a few minutes. We'll come back and give them a wipe, see how they do. All right, so it's been a little while with the super clean and the mean green, and you can sort of see already, like I have not scrubbed this yet, and it's already starting to show it's running off and some bare metal again. Mean green, I did wipe down here a little bit initially, down over here, so you know that was me, but a little bit of running off, but not nearly as much. Just without even touching it. I mean, look at this upper edge along here as well. So yeah, so far I can see which one's working better, but let's give them a scrub and let's see how clean we can get these. I'll go ahead and go back to the mean green first. So give it a little spray. Maybe we'll just use the rag first instead of getting to the brush quite yet. Let's just see how this does. Well, I don't know. I mean, some of it, I think it's going to need the brush, to be honest. I mean, it's cleaning some of it pretty good, but that's on there. Okay. Let's try the super clean next. Get it different. Drag that. You stay over here. Oh yeah, big difference. Look at that coming along. That's not bad already. So there you go. Super green so far, just spraying it and letting it sit, and mean green. So, I mean, there you go. Difference already, right? Okay, so I'm going to spray them both a little more, and then I'm going to use the brush gently and see if this helps some. Okay, so mean green, more came off with the brush, of course, to be expected. Not entirely. I mean, I suppose keeping at it and keep applying and keep brushing, come cleaner, faster, more. But let me, let's go move on to the other one here. All right, super clean. Yep, definitely did a lot better. Obviously there's lots to clean off on the backside, but just looking at the carbon buildup, it's kind of what we're trying to do here. And I think, you know, whatever wins this application is probably what I'm going to use on the rest of it. So I thought, you know what, this is a good way to figure out what really kind of gets all that off, since it's where the worst buildup is. Okay. Well, I think I'm satisfied with what I see between the super clean and the Mr. Green. Let's move on to another two. Let's go ahead and try the brake clean and the Gunk, and let's see what we get with that. All right, next up, we're gonna try good old Gunk, which I've tried a little bit already in the past, to be honest, but we'll try it again for this demonstration purpose. And then good old fashioned brake clean. Let's hit them both. Let them soak for a while like the others, 10, 15 minutes about. And yeah, and we'll see how these do compared to the last two that we just did. All right, so we've got the brake clean and the Gunk engine degreaser and cleaner. It's been sitting for, like I said, about 10-ish, 15-ish minutes or so. I'll spray one more time so they're not dry, because I can see the brake clean obviously evaporates quickly, of course. But let's start with that and let's see how that does first. Okay. I mean, it's certainly doing something, right? Yeah, okay. I mean, it is taking some of it off, but there's a lot of buildup still. So let's try the brush. Let's see what that does first before we move on to the Gunk. So there's the brake clean. Not as good as the others, if I'm honest. Keep at it with enough elbow grease. I'm sure it'll get there. Probably going to use a lot of brake fluid. Let's move on to Gunk engine degreaser. This one's, admittingly, it is the darker of the two. So it might have more of a fight than the other one. But, yeah, I don't know. It's coming along a little bit, slowly. And there you have it. Let's hit it one more time here. Let's try the brush. Okay. I don't know, what do you think? Brake clean, Gunk engine cleaner. Pretty close to comparative, if I'm honest. I think the other products definitely work better. Now again, elbow grease time, you get there. We're here, trying to see and compare which one quickly works better than the others. So there's our brake clean, there's our Gunk. Yeah, I think so far I know the one that I'm going with. But let's give the old Goo Gone a try. Why not? I got a couple more pistons back there we haven't done yet. Let's see how that works and see if that is anything. And then later, after a couple of hours, those two in the blaster metal rescue, see how they've done as well. We'll check in on those. Okay, so for the last one, like I mentioned, we're going to try Goo Gone next. I have a lot of hope for that one, but we're going to try it anyway and see how it does. I will disclose that this piston here, I already, like I mentioned before, cleaned this a little bit. Just when we first took the motor apart, I wanted to see how bad the buildup was on here, on the heads. And so it has been kind of pre-treated, but let's see how it does with the balance of what's on here as well. Okay, Goo Gone's been sitting for a little while. Let's go ahead and give it a try. It's certainly oilier than the rest of them, I would say. It's thicker. These weren't cold. They were all in the house, kept them warm, so I know the garage is heated. The fire's been on for a few hours, so it's not cold in here-ish. Yeah, as I suspected. Not too much. That's just without brushing. This was all pretty well there. It took a little bit off. This was a clean rag, of course. Let's try the brush. Okay. All right, I mean, it did some, sure. I'll admit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, not the best, but it took a little bit off. Well, that's Goo Gone. All right, well, here's a comparison side by side across all of them. These are the ones we did, minus the two that are soaking in the blaster. But we can see here how Goo Gone did, you know, okay-ish. The brake clean, as expected. Super clean, definitely, in my opinion, came hands above top the rest. And then as well, mean green wasn't too bad. Put more work onto the other side, and I'm sure it'll come along the ways. And the engine degreaser cleaner, you know, not terrible. I mean, these three are definitely the ones, but so far super clean. Hands down, I see as the best. All right, well, these are just starting to turn the water yellow, so they're starting to do something. I think they're going to need more time, but let's just see after a couple of hours how they've done. Didn't do much. But let's do the other one, then we'll talk a bit about why I think this is still going to be a useful product. Okay, so it does take off some, you know, you can see it's starting to remove it here, which is true. But here's where I think it's going to be super helpful, this stuff. So let's start this first. Cleaning out the oil and carbon buildup on the piston, not so good. But where I think this product is still going to be really good for me to use and anybody else and similar products like it is really, this is a rust remover. It's not an engine, it's not a degreaser. It's meant to obviously restore surface rust, which this has. So obviously you can see we have a little bit of corrosion back in here and down in the arms, all in behind. This is where I think this stuff is going to help. So what I think the right thing to do with this stuff is go ahead and use the other degreasers. Super clean seems to be the one, or mean green. Get it as clean as I can, get all the carbon off I can, oil, all that, and then soak these pistons to get all this, like this is already starting to move a little bit freer, which is nice. So I think that'll help with that. So while, you know, I don't want to slight this product in any sense because we're not really using it. I wasn't really using it for its application. I just wanted to see how it did against some of the buildup, knowing that it's more for rust removal. So I think what I'll do is I will clean all of these with the other products, get them as clean as I can, and then soak these for 1 to 2 days and let it really work, really pull some of that off. Okay, well, since the Super Clean did so well, I went ahead and I went to town on this one and tried to get it as far as I could, just working on it over the last 20 minutes or so. And you can see here, it's actually turned out pretty well. A little bit of carbon left to work on in here as well. But I think from where it came from, which was like this one, this is definitely coming a long way. Pretty pleased with that product. So like I said, I think that's what we're going to go ahead and go with for the rest of the motor. A little bit more elbow grease, a little bit more time, and I think this one will definitely get the job done. All right, well, I think we figured out which one is the winner here today. Super Clean seem to be doing the best job. Again, these were quick applications. Spray them down, let them sit for 10-15 minutes, a brush, a cloth, just to get a sense for which one's kind of working the best and what one will I spend my time and my money on getting the rest of this motor cleaned up. There's a fair bit of work to do, of course. I'm going to tackle the block. I'm going to get all those parts, the small parts as well, rods, rockers, all that stuff. They're all going to go into that bath as well, so we're going to soak those. And let, you know, that treat rust and anything else that's in there as well. But I think this is going to work. So I've got a lot of work to do to get through this. I super appreciate everybody who watched the video, the initial video. Put in your comments, not just on cleaning, but on what to do with this motor overall and what not to do. So again, you got anything, advice, please throw it in the comments section. I really appreciate you checking in and giving me some feedback. I take note to that, and hopefully the next video that I put out on this motor. This thing is all cleaned out, 100%. We'll probably do a painting of the block. And what's your advice? Do I go back to the original factory orange, or I don't know, what does everybody else think? I'd love to. I'm debating over colors on what to paint this block. But in any event, that's the goal. Next video, hopefully we get things, it's all clean, and we've got some parts brought in, so we're going to order some parts very soon and start putting this piece back together. So that's going to be awesome. But thanks for joining, guys. As always, appreciate you coming and checking us out, and we'll see you next time.